Today we're looking at 10 acres of land for sale in San Miguel County, New Mexico. And in this video, I'm going to show you the top things that will help you decide whether this property is a good fit for you based on my experience selling over 700 parcels of land. So let's start with location. So San Miguel County is in eastern New Mexico. We can zoom out here. In between Texas and Santa Fe. And it is in a pretty rural area, but it is not too far from Lake Conchas, which is a reservoir created by the Army Corps of Engineers, and that does have good fishing. Right, so the main way to get to the property is off of Route 104, and we can take a look at what the property looks like. So here, again, we have a very rural parcel. You do get wide open views out here. This is also a flat parcel with just sparse desert vegetation on it, which would make it fairly easy to develop. So as you can see from the drone footage here, this is an area where you are getting lots of space, few neighbors, lots of privacy, few regulations, and proximity to the desert landscape. People who buy land here tend to want recreational land or land for off-grid living, as we can see from this homestead nearby, or they're just looking for an affordable investment property to hold on to. This property would not be, as you can kind of tell from images, for someone looking for a suburban lot right near major employers or right next door to a grocery store or with all public utilities available. So we have a couple properties in this particular subdivision. This one is one of our nicest. It's the largest for one at 10 acres, and it is also, as we zoom out here, close to the main road. It has good access, which is somewhat difficult in this area. So it has dirt road access. You can see that a couple people have built right off of this road. So in this part of the subdivision, people have managed to build and make the area work. So that's a good sign if you did actually want to build and create a homestead here. There might even, I can't guarantee this, but there might even be power available because there are homes nearby. I'm not sure if they are off-grid homes or if there are power lines run here. It's kind of hard to tell from the images, but it does look like there are power poles available here, so that would be another big plus for this particular lot. You would then most likely be able to connect to public electricity, but you would still need a well and septic system for sewer and water. All right, so let's go over, we can see power poles here. So yes, I do believe power should be available. You can always confirm that with the county. All right, so let's go over what you can do on this particular property. Now, one of the big draws of rural areas like this is that they tend to have very loose regulations. So to start, I'll say there is no HOA, which means there are no additional layers of private restrictions on this property that we are aware of. It is zoned agricultural residential. So I'm going to pull up the zoning ordinance, but as the name would suggest, that does allow both agricultural uses and residential uses, which is why this is an area that people do come to do the off-grid homesteading lifestyle. But let's look at what the zoning ordinance says. So it does say ranch, farm, dairy, and rural residential activities. So livestock farming, that would be allowed. You're actually allowed to display and sell agricultural products as well. And you are allowed to put one single-family dwelling or mobile home on the lot. So, and you're also allowed one dwelling for guests occupied not more than 90 days during the year. Other accessory structures are also allowed, as well as storage of trailers and boats. So it's a pretty permissive zoning ordinance. It allows most everything that I typically hear land buyers are looking for: agricultural, residential, mobile home, all of that. And according to our research, RVs are permitted for recreational use for a period of 3 to 4 months. So you can also use this property for recreational purposes for camping and things like that. Right. So it does, as I was saying, pretty much allows most uses that people who are buying land are looking to use the property for. The other nice thing about this property is annual taxes are very, very low, only about $8. So that makes this lot very, very easy to buy and hold on to for a long time. You basically have no holding costs at all on this property, so that's nice too. And I do also want to cover a few other things that are important to make note of when buying land, because they can dramatically influence whether you're able to build or not. Oh yes, another thing I'll note is these are 2 separate APNs that we're selling together, so you get a full 10 acres. Right, so again, let me just zoom out so you can see we're very close to the main highway running through the area. And you can also see here there are a couple homes here. So this is the part of the subdivision where people have managed to build homesteads. Good sign if you are looking to build. All right, so let's look at some of the other important characteristics of the property. Now, as we saw from the drone footage, this is a flat lot, pretty much no slope according to the contour lines here. And the approximate elevation is about 4,380 feet. I believe. It's a little hard to read. There are no oil wells in this area. That can be important. And no solar farms. It is also not in a special hazard flood zone, which you might be surprised even in the desert. You can find those, as you can see here. There are often arroyos dotted here or there throughout the desert. So that's good. It means lower chance of seasonal flooding during the monsoon season. It also means you don't have to get flood insurance. So that's nice. And there are also no wetlands. That's also important because wetlands, it can be very difficult to build on a wetland. No wind farms in the area. No transmission lines running through the lot. Okay, so the other thing I do want to call out is soil type, because you will need a septic here. So one thing we check is to make sure that the soil type that covers most of the property is also found on neighboring properties that have homes on them. So what that means is other people have managed to build homes on this soil type, which is a good sign for being able to install a septic system. So the soil is pretty much the same in the whole area, and we see that there are homes nearby. So that's a good sign for septic, as I was saying. All right. So now let's take a little bit of a deeper dive on the location. Right, so we're not too far from the main road, as I pointed out. This is 104. The nearest town would pretty much be Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada. And the closest, so I should say, this is a very rural area. You can expect that a trip to the grocery store would be a bit of a haul. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about building out here. So there are, of course, a number of grocery stores, even a Walmart in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is, oops, that was Nevada, is about an hour from the property. So yes, that is something to keep in mind. I don't know if there's a market. There must be a market down here. Let's see. Yeah, so there are also grocery stores in Tucumcari, which is 50 minutes away. So it's just a little bit closer. And as far as hospitals, there would be one in Las Vegas as well. But we can search for that. And there is a medical center in Tucumcari too. So you're about an hour or 50 minutes to medical centers here. Okay, so that covers a lot of the main characteristics of this property. We can take a look at it again. And that would bring us to what some would say would be the most important feature, price. But before I get to that, I do quickly want to introduce myself, just so you know who you're working with. My name is Erica. I am the co-founder of Gokche Capital, and we have a company whose mission it is to help people across the country become landowners and build their own version of the American dream. And we've helped over 700 people buy land at this point. You can find all of our properties at land.gokcap.com. Now, I will say we do have properties throughout the entire U.S., so if you're interested in other states, you can check those out on our website. But today we are looking at number 845 on our website. This is the property on Magnolia Road in San Miguel, 10 acres. Now, quick note, this is our internal numbering system, so you're not going to see this number on the deed. If you did want to call the county and do some research, which I always recommend you do, just to confirm our own research, you can use, again, this is 2 parcels, so you can use these assessor's parcel numbers, APNs, to pull up the property with the assessor or the planning department. But if you did want to find the property on our website, it's number 845. And the price of this property is $11,497 plus the $595 dock fee. One thing I should mention is that I'm not a real estate agent. I only sell properties that my company owns. So what that means is that you work directly with the owner when you buy from us. It also means we can offer owner financing on all of our properties, including this one. But on our website, you will not see set owner financing terms, and that is on purpose. It is because we do personalize our owner financing terms to meet the needs of each individual buyer. This is to make sure that the property is actually affordable for you. So if you are interested in owner financing, I do recommend reaching out to us and letting us know what kind of down payment and monthly payment would work with your budget. Once we know that, we can work with you to come up with a couple options that do fall within your budget's range. I do, though, want to be upfront about 2 terms. The first is the higher the down payment, the lower the interest rate. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your budget. The second is we do say there's no building on or living on the property during the loan term. This is for liability reasons, but you can use the property for recreational purposes, like camping in an RV, or you can make minor improvements like clearing, grading, fencing, generally anything that doesn't require a permit, as long as you're in compliance with all local rules and regulations. So if there are a few things you want to use the property for prior to paying it off, just let us know and we'll work with you. The other thing I'll mention is there's no prepayment penalty, so you can always pay off the property early, get started building, and save on interest. In fact, if you pay off early enough, we'll give you cash back. So if you pay off in 6 months, you'll get 5% cash back on the purchase price. And if you pay off in 12 months, you'll get 2.5% cash back on the purchase price. I also want to call out our 365-day land exchange guarantee. And I mention this because in the past, I had heard from many buyers that one of their biggest concerns prior to purchasing was potentially not knowing all the items they need to look for or check for before purchasing and ending up with a property that doesn't actually work. So to solve for that, we did create our 365-day exchange guarantee. Basically, it allows you to exchange the property once at any time in the first year that you're financing the lot. All you have to do is come to us and let us know that you would rather have another property that's in our inventory. Once you do that, you'll pay another dock fee, and we'll simply move over all of the principal payments to the new property. And that way you know that you can get a property that actually works for you. Another thing I want to call out is we recently created a landowner success bundle. This is based on feedback, again, from hundreds of previous buyers, and it is free with every purchase. It's a set of 9 bonuses designed to help you get the most from your land. And these include exclusive discounts with mobile home dealers and manufacturers, monthly landowner Q&A calls with me, a complimentary vacation voucher, a hotel savings card, the free 30-minute architectural consultation with me because I do have a background in architecture, a homesteading guide, building and zoning guide, post-closing checklist, and neighbor lookup tutorial. So you get all of these bonuses with every purchase. You get them once the deed's recorded. So that's either upfront with a cash sale or at the end of the loan term with owner financing. And if you are interested in this property, I do recommend taking the following 2 next steps. First, hold the property on our website. And I say this because in the past, before we had this feature, I would have buyers who would go visit the property or take a few days to call the county and then come back to me and letting me know they want to move forward, only to find that the property was sold. So that's why we created this hold feature. It takes the property off market while you do your research, go visit the property, or get funds together. It's $50 for 2 days, and you can hold for up to 8 days at a time. The process is very simple. It's an automated checkout system. All you have to do is click buy or hold, and then click hold on our website. And so that's step 1, hold the property. Step 2 would be to book a call with me to go over questions, next steps, and owner financing terms if you are interested in owner financing. So my personal calendar is at call.gocap.com. You can book a call with me there. So those are the 2 steps. Hold the property, then book a call with me. The other thing I'll note is if you're currently just browsing for land and you're not entirely sure what property will work best for you, on my calendar, you can also book a free land strategy call. And on that call, we can go over what your land buying goals are and some of the top things I would recommend that you look into for any property that you're interested in purchasing in order to make sure that you get a lot that actually works for you. And on these calls, we don't have to talk about any of our properties, but we can also go over them if that makes sense for you. So you can book that free land strategy call again at call.gocap.com. The other thing I'll mention is if you're currently in the market for land and you're looking at a couple different properties, I do also do free property reviews on these live streams. So I'm live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. I go over the property of the day, but after I do that, I will review any property a viewer posts in the chat for free as a second opinion. So if there are a couple properties that you're seriously considering buying, you can always join any of these live streams at 7 p.m. Eastern and leave your property in the chat, and I'll look over it for you for free. The last thing I do want to mention is we also have a free land giveaway. This is just a fun promotion to get the word out about our company. We run it twice a year, and the next one is coming up July 4th. On July 4th, we will give away the lowest value property in our inventory live on YouTube. So if you would like to be in the running for that, you can go to freelandgiveaway.com or just go to our YouTube homepage and watch a quick 1-minute video on how to participate. All right. So that's it for today. Again, we were looking at our 10-acre property in San Miguel County. And you can find this property as well as all of our properties at land.gocap.com. Just search for property 845. So again, that's 845 on the website. So thank you all for watching and have a wonderful evening.